Welcome to Dragon Ball Fighters Part 5. That's Part 5, Kane. Part 5.
Absolutely Part 5. I actually, for people who don't, between the break, I realized that I had the wrong part up, but it's so repetitive, and I just didn't notice. It's like clone fights. Sure, we're talking about clone fights. I got clone fights here.
Yeah, it's.
I wish I was kidding.
Yeah,
Well,
that's how repetitive it is. Now imagine doing... We just finished... This is the start of Part 5, so we're halfway, quote-unquote, there for this story. Now there's 2 more on top of it.
Yeah.
Imagine how long this feels. Eventually, don't do any extra stuff in the game. Just make a beeline for the boss unless you're trying to unlock characters for story mode.
And the thing is,
Yeah, for story mode specifically, because it's not like you have to do... the only character you unlock from doing story mode is Android 21.
That's Waifu 21.
Every other character is already unlocked for, like, local multiplayer and stuff like that.
But here's the thing, though, is that like making it this repetitive actually does a disservice to the story, because I played all 3 parts to unlock 21, and it was so long and it was so boring. I was just skipping cutscenes at a certain point. I just didn't even care anymore. I'm like, shut up! I just want to finish this. And so they put this work into the game, and it's forcing me to skip it because it's killing me inside.
I just want to unlock Android 21 at this point, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care about any of this anymore.
Your fuck loot box is like, I don't care. Like, I will pay money at this point. I just want to just make the hurting stop.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though, because because of the way the game is designed, the fact that Android 21 is locked behind story mode kind of works against the game now, because
You can buy the season pass.
Or you can buy the season pass. Yeah, you can unlock Madhouse mode by buying the stupid coin DLC. The point I'm trying to make though is that, like, if you don't want to play the story, if they hadn't locked Android 21 behind the story mode or DLC, then I could just say, okay, if you don't like the story, don't play the story. But now, to get that character, which you're going to want to do, if only to see if it's a character that you'll have fun playing as. To get that character, you now have to play through this long slog of a story mode.
Well, here's the thing. People like unlocking stuff is the thing. Like in Super Smash Bros. Melee, for example, unlocking all the new characters and seeing, oh man, I unlocked Mr. Game & Watch or whatever was a big thing. It's just in counteracting to my own point, because I know that having unlockable characters for fighters, I know, ticks people off. There is a good reason to have it there, at least, if you want to keep people engaged on a single player level.
Having unlockable characters in a fighting game ticks people off because a lot of people don't want to mess around with the single player stuff. They just want to jump into the multiplayer, which in today's gaming climate is a perfectly reasonable expectation to have of the genre, because the genre sort of gave up trying to be single player at all at some point. And well, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that design decision, but it's what people have come to expect. And it's what the designers of this game seem to have come to expect too, because there's only one locked character, right?
That's my point exactly. Is that okay? Like, I can understand having characters be locked and you have to unlock them. Like, okay, fine, but if you're going to do it, then go all in on it, or at least go semi in on it, as opposed to only having one be locked and then having it be like, I'm doing all this work for one character, as opposed to feeling the satisfaction of being like, okay, I unlocked Nappa, I unlocked Frieza, so on and so forth.
I'm not big on having things locked behind content, but if you're going to do it, that's fine. But make it something simple like, I get to go through arcade mode and unlock a character. It takes me like 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Not 12 hours.
A good example is like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, the first good one, in other words. Yeah, I just knocked the first one. Bite me. But the it's got a huge roster. Like 2/3 of it is locked at the start of the game, so you're playing through a story mode, and it has a good story mode, by the way. It's like probably the best way to experience that part of the story from the manga that you could ask for. But as you're going through the story mode, you're unlocking characters as you go. So there's a constant sense of player progression to go with the story progression. You're getting these new characters, and if you ever get tired of the story mode, hey, how about that? Since the last time you checked, you unlocked like 5 different characters. Why don't you go into versus mode and try them out?
Or at least do what they did somewhat with the pre-order bonus of Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta, where you can unlock them without having to have the pre-order of beating certain difficulties in arcade or just saving up enough money.
Yes, like
Yeah.
Smash Brothers
the only
does that.
the only current way to unlock Android 21 without buying the season pass is to finish the story mode.
Yeah, because
the
like
guidebook?
in Smash Brothers, there's multiple ways to unlock everything. Like you can either, beat classic mode 10 times to get Jigglypuff, or you can have people walk off the edge for 5 hours. Which I don't get why you would ever do that. That is not fun. I'd rather actually play the game and unlock
It's
stuff.
at least an option.
Yeah.
It's an if you don't necessarily want to, like, okay, everything in Melee had multiple ways of unlocking them, but they usually had a legit way and a way that was kind of there for people who didn't want to bother with unlocking things. Like Mewtwo, for example, basically just leave your system on overnight. So it was like you couldn't play with
With four
them
controllers plugged in.
with four controllers plugged in. Yeah, because the legit option was kind of tedious as fuck. And it would have taken forever if you had done it the way the designers intended. So,
Well, the other way as well is, if we go back to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they didn't lock characters, they locked stages behind story mode, which is kind of interesting. So if you want extra stages, you can play story mode and unlock like 4 different
how
stages.
many stages are in Ultimate? How many stages are in the new Marvel vs. Capcom?
In the base package, not that much. I think there's 8, and there's 4 more if you play story mode, I think is how it goes.
That's lame.
Wait, only
I'm
12
sorry,
stages?
One of the things about Marvel vs. Capcom that still pisses me off to this day, both the new one and 3, is how few stages they have. And then, in Marvel vs. Capcom Ultimate, they reskin all of the stages, but then don't take the obvious route of including the original versions, so you at least have 2 versions of each stage to choose from. No,
Actually, I'm correct you,
just
they do.
the fucking
They,
new ones. What?
they do actually have the original stages.
How do
in
you
Marvel vs.
access
Capcom
them?
Infinite.
Because I never figured that.
I don't know. I've got it, and like you can get like the 2 versions of the hand stage. You can get the 2 versions of the
Really?
fucking
Did
Ghouls
they
Goblin stage.
intentionally
Yeah.
make it cryptic and hard to find because they were
I-
embarrassed by the old stages or something?
I don't know. I mean, it's always been that way to my knowledge, but I don't know. Maybe I did by fluke. I don't know.
No, because like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate had the problem for me of replacing a bunch of stuff with stuff they obviously thought was new and better, but I just wanted the old stuff back. I wanted the old music back. The new weird cheap MIDI file version of the Victory theme pisses me off.
Filler map.
Dance break.
Yeah, I literally cut out an entire board there. Because the phase from that, it goes to a board, nothing gets progressed, you don't rescue anyone, and then it just cuts right back here.
That's
Wow.
that was some great MS Paint skills there too. I gotta say.
Oh, it gets particularly bad later in the game.
This is the thing that always killed me as well, is that like you're wasting so much time in story mode. Every time you pick up a new character, they actually devote a good minute or so to telling them what they've told every other character. So here's why you're linking, here's why you've been unconscious, here's why you can't fight, and they have a whole discussion around it. It's like, how bad is your fucking writing to keep doing this?
Man, you know what? Now that we've gotten past the beginning of there being the whole player inserting their soul into the character thing, it's just become a talking point for the characters.
It just,
Your character isn't even actively participating anymore.
I know. I went to this thinking like, okay, it's an Arxis game. You know, they know how to do action cutscenes. They know how to do cinematics. I'm going to see some really cool Dragon Ball shit in this story mode that I have not seen in Dragon Ball Super, and you see some great fights and shit. But instead, I get to see shit like this where everyone just stands around and talks all the time.
You know what I think it is? Apart from lazy animation, I think one of the things about this is that they were in that situation where they would have whenever they wanted to do something interesting, they would have had to get approval from the people who are actually in charge of the Dragon Ball storylines. So,
And I don't know,
just sort of-
guys. If
they
you're
scaled
a
back.
Dragon Ball fan, you should be pretty used to them standing around and not fighting. Like,
Shots fired.
that's kind of, isn't that the big joke about Dragon Ball?
The big joke about Dragon Ball is that one person does all the fighting while the rest of the cast stands around and watches. And
Yeah,
comments.
but
Okay.
like, how many episodes
Or
of
that,
filler is
like-
there in between actual like cool fights?
Basically-
again?
Okay, yes,
basically,
yes, you are
Ted,
right.
basically, Ted, Dragon Ball was BrainScratch commentaries before we existed.
Oh man,
Okay.
don't be that mean. Come on.
Like, how many
like,
Saiyans does it take to screw in a light bulb? One, but it takes them 5 episodes to do it.
they stand around talking. Yes, they do stand around talking and screaming and powering up. But the thing is, that's the fun of it, because eventually there is a payoff, and the payoff feels really good when it finally happens. But in this, there's no payoff ever for anything.
What? What?
Where?
Goku just popped unconscious Gohan away with instant transformation. Now he's back.
Okay, so we needed that to be explained by Krillin before Goku popped in and explained it. What?
Piccolo's blushing by the look of it too.
That was... Okay, that could have been a funny scene if it hadn't been for that Krillin thing. Well, that just was redundant. It's like Krillin was there to speak that line because they were afraid that the players who hadn't watched Dragon Ball Z, all 2 of them, won't get it.
Wait, and also, that's just inaccurate. If Piccolo were to blush, the blush mark should be yellow.
Should they? Is that a color of his blood? I thought his blood was purple.
Oh, no. Blushing is usually red in any sort of anime, but Piccolo's skin is green.
Blushing is red because your blood is red. It's blood going to your face. His blush should be purple.
No, I think you just made that up.
Sounds
No, I
fake.
didn't.
You are fake news.
Blood is red, Lewis. Where's your evidence? All right.
These are alternative facts.
But yeah, I think Piccolo's blood, at least in the American censored versions, was always purple.
No, it was originally red, but even just later down the road, they just made it purple for both English and Japanese.
Well, hold the phone. Piccolo should not be able to just fire off a special beam cannon. All right.
We're long past the days of the Raditz Saga, Ted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think as the series went on, he did gain the ability to use that move pretty fast.
Also, part of the problem with Raditz is that he did use it fairly quick the first time, it missed, and then he got his arm blown off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's time to take
I
my
think
time.
I think the issue with it early on in the series was that Piccolo's power wasn't. He didn't have as much energy in him at that time, but then that was before he merged with Namekian and then merged with Kami, and then now he's sort of 3 Namekians in one.
Also, I kind of just rationalized it that he was just
Man.
firing off a weaker version because he wasn't charging it up.
Dad, you're here. And so's Piccolo.
Oh, I like how they,
You're talking about the edit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was real.
No.
I thought that was at least a subtitle typo.
No, it's an edit, but it's one everyone wishes they had instead. In case anyone in the audience is wondering, there's an edit where they change it so, oh, hey, Dad, and Goku's here, too.
So
Although the I'm proud of you finally one is legit, though.
yeah, but they changed that though. Is the thing.
Yeah, they patched it out.
Because
Yeah.
that was just out of character.
It wasn't out of character so much as a bad translation, I think.
I should apologize. I feel bad that you got dragged into all
So they said Gohan adult specifically. Can you play as Kid Gohan in this?
As a player, in terms of the game, yes, not in the story mode.
Okay, so he's just a. Okay, that's weird then.
That's like the only one that makes at least some amount of sense.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that they have characters in here that are just like, okay, we're gonna have Kid Gohan playable too. That's fine, but then they also need to explain away a whole bunch of garbage for other things. So it's like,
was made after
it's just a fighting
Well,
game.
it's
Is
only
it just
like
me? Is it just me, or is Gohan's hair always in Mr. Gohan form, or is Goku's goes
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
Super
I
Saiyan
think
to
that's
regular?
a save on costs.
Yeah.
Because his hair is gargantuan and the bang is down.
Yeah. So it's just weird that like they'll do Goku's hair going from Super Saiyan to non-Super Saiyan, but he's just always Mr. Gohan now.
There's no point in just standing here.
Mystic Gohan was a stupid thing, though. Like, we're gonna make Gohan have this super form where he cleans the clock of the main villain, but we want Goku to be the one who cleans the clock of the main villain. So let's just have him arbitrarily lose lose because he got distracted or something? What was it that happened?
He got cocky and he got absorbed.
Yeah, he got absorbed because Boo had his tail blown off, but Gohan never noticed it, and he used that to absorb Gohan.
The whole Boo saga is just kind of a mess on how editorials and how fans saw things, and yeah.
Hey, look, the Boo saga gave birth to Super Saiyan 3, which is the best Super Saiyan form, as everyone knows.
Yeah, but you know what? Super Saiyan 3 entered the fray long before the Boo saga got stupid.
Yeah.
It's also seldom used nowadays.
It is, because isn't that because Toriyama doesn't like it anymore?
I don't know the reasoning behind it not being used. Besides, I guess he just doesn't like drawing all the hair.
It's just expediency.
I think
That's the reason that I heard.
Yeah.
if I had to guess, it's probably because they want the newer forms to look more like standard Goku, Vegeta, whatever, so that it's more recognizable that it's Goku with a new form, as opposed to, who is that? It's from Dragon Ball, I guess is the thing, which is, I think, why, like, Super Saiyan, whatever they are, is red and blue hair without, like,
yeah,
lots
I
of
admit
extra
when I was a
hair or
kid,
whatever.
it took me a while to realize that Super Saiyan 3 Goku was indeed Goku because his eyebrows and hair are so different.
I never got the lack of eyebrows for Super Saiyan 3.
Or the fact that he gets pupils back in his eyes.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, well, you see, I don't find that is so weird. It's just losing your eyebrows entirely and becoming more of a...
They got blown off because of how powerful he is.
Obviously,
Yeah,
John.
but then they grow immediately right back.
Obviously, John, when his hair grows out like that, it needs a donation. So all the rest of his body hair goes.
So yeah, he loses. Yeah, so everything else. Yeah, so what you're seeing in the back is his ball hair. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good
it's
to
like
know.
when you get a hair transplant because you're balding. He
All
just takes it from the
hair,
eyebrows and
armpit
put it in
hair,
his
chest
hair.
hair, back hair, leg hair.
All of it.
All
So
of
what's
it.
So
It's got a flowy mane, but everything else below is a Ken doll, baby.
You guys realize that people have been making these jokes since actually 1997, right?
So, speaking of a character on screen, though, what would Super Saiyan 3 Nappa just be Nappa with a moderate amount of hair?
No, all the hair goes to his beard.
Yeah,
so
he gets like a
has like a
Master Roshi
really
style.
fucking long
he
Gen.
gets a wizard beard.
Yeah, he gets a wizard beard if he was Super Saiyan 3.